you know, I roll over to Martin and I said, either I'm gonna make him laugh or I'm gonna make him mad. Just one of the two. So he had this attitude, you know, he's ready to leave and everything, and the script wasn't going good. And so I walked up to him and I said, "What's wrong?" And he turned around and said, "What?" I said, "What's wrong with you? Why you acting tough? Why you acting like that?"
Why ain't I see you around back when I was down?
What's up, world? It's your boy, Big Court of the Holdin Court Podcast and Legacy Builder University. You already know what it is, man. And we here with my oldest daughter. Y'all know who it is, Rachel Renee. Hey, so listen, real quick, I want you guys to go to iambigcourt.com, tap in with Legacy Builders, and my school community is going down over there. We're teaching you how to level up your life, of social media, mindset strategies, business funding, all of that. So it's rocking over there. It's cracking, huh?
Yeah, it's popping.
Yeah, thanks to my daughter. My daughter she put that whole play into play. So, but today we have a very, very special guest, and I promise you I don't say this lightly. I've been studying this brother from afar for a cool minute since I've been out in LA, you know, and just learning the landscape of this whole entertainment industry, Hollywood, filmmaking thing. He's definitely a powerhouse writer, producer, screenwriter, director, executive producer, actor, so many accomplishments, man. But I consider this guy to be, I asked him before, I didn't want to offend him, you know, the West Coast Tyler Perry, you know, Bentley Kyle Evans. What's up, brother?
You got it, man. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, was that a dope intro? I tried to put with
And listen, man, I might have to
up.
hire you as my publicist because yeah, that was dope. That was dope.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you for coming, brother.
Absolutely, bro.
And I really, that is for real. You know, I have been watching you, studying you from afar, just watching the moves that you make, especially because I know how difficult it is to traverse this industry, not for anybody, but especially as a black man, and being in a power seat on top of that. You know, when it comes to directing, getting things greenlit, I know it's super, super difficult, and you've been at a high level, umpteen times, you know, and sustained. So, man, kudos to you for being able to do that.
Thank you for that acknowledgement.
Yeah, for sure. So, I kind of want to start from the beginning a little bit.
Okay.
So, born in the Bay.
Born in the Bay.
Yeah, 415 or 510.
415, because when I was a kid, 510 didn't exist.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But and grew up in LA.
Grew up in LA, yeah. So I don't know the full story, but I know that my mother and father both grew up in the Bay. My mother grew up in Richmond, California.
Shout out to Richmond. We had Glenn Plummer on the show.
Yeah, I know Glenn real
Richmond.
well.
Yeah.
That's my guy.
Yeah.
And my pop grew up in West Oakland.
Yeah.
Both of them were born in the South, but ended up in California, however that story happened. Yeah. And then they connected. And so I'm born there, but we didn't live there at the time. We were probably already living in LA, but I think my mother wanted to be close to her parents by the time I came about. And so we were in Oakland, and that's kind of where my origin started. And then as soon as I was able to travel and stuff, they brought me to LA, and that's where my life has begun. Now, I know the Bay very well because all of my family was there. All of my first cousins were there. Wow. All of my aunts, uncles, grandparents, everything. So it was like a second home, if you will. And so I'm very familiar with the Bay. It's definitely a place that I know like my left hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what age did you come to LA?
It was before I could even reason, before I could even understand what was really happening. So I don't remember living there ever. I just know that my mother says you were here, and I never really asked too many questions about it. I just accepted the fact that, okay, I live in LA. So I say I'm from the Bay, but I don't know if I could really claim it like that, but I claim it because I'm like, no, my birth certificate says the Bay.
You can claim it, but technically you a LA dude.
I'm an LA dude.
You a LA dude.
No, for real, I am.
Specifically View Park, Windsor Hills.
Yes.
Yeah. So now for people that are outside of LA, View Park, Windsor Hills is a very beautiful area.
Yes.
It can be deceiving, okay? It's very beautiful aesthetically, but this is where Rich rolling 60s. This is their turf over there.
No question.
Crenshaw and Slauson.
No question.
Yeah.
Right
yeah.
around the corner. I went
right
to school
around
with
the
all
corner.
of them.
Exactly. That's my point. That's my point. Matter of fact, we almost bought a house before. Remember your mama? I moved to Encino. But before that, my wife was like, we lived in Brentwood. We couldn't afford to buy a house in Brentwood.
Right.
So my wife, you know, she wants to live around black people, you know. So she was like, man, I want to go to, you know, so we called it the Hood Mansion. It was a beautiful house over off Slauson. But, you know, me being from the hood, I knew what time it was. I'm like, yeah, this area nice.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you come out of here, we got to go to the grocery store. I might run into some problems over here, you know. But growing up in that area and having to navigate the gangs, like, how was that for you? And how did you prevent from getting trapped up in that?
First of all, shouts out to Baldwin Hills, Windsor Hills, View Park, and Ladera Heights. I call it the Black Triangle.
Yes.
That's my roots. That's what I know. I know it better than any other place in the entire world. Now they're calling it the Black Beverly Hills. Whatever.
Black Beverly Hills.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That's what they want to call it. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But it was a wonderful place to grow up.
Right.
Wonderful. If you could only imagine, it was like a wonderland, you know, because it was mostly the upwardly mobile black people that lived there. Now, when we got there around 71, I'm just getting ready to start elementary school, kindergarten, and it was mostly white people up there still.
Wow.
We were making our way into there, and I'm telling you, that was 71. By 78, they was all gone.
It's all gone.
It was like the white flight.
White flight.
They came out here to Encino and to the Valley.
Right.
And so now most of the black families were moving in. And it was like I said, you had a lot of doctors and lawyers, a lot of influential African-American people. And my father was a real estate professional. So, you know, we kind of fit right in. And so you were growing up with families. Like most of the kids that I grew up with had mothers and fathers present in the house.
Yeah.
Some didn't, but most did. And so I believe that because of that family structure, my mentality was I can't disappoint these people that are pouring into me. I ain't getting involved in none of that kind of stuff. And because we were in the hood, but it's the hills of the hood.
It's the hills. Very
It's the
nice.
hills.
It's
Very
very
nice.
nice. The Dons, Baldwin Hills.
man.
Come on, man. Them
You
is
know,
like little mansions up there. It's
Little
nice.
mansions, man.
Nice.
My mom is still there in the
dope.
same house we grew up in. And you know, it's like, I was up there with Ike and Tina Turner's kids, Ray
That's a fact.
Charles's
Yep.
kids,
Yep.
you name it. If they were making moves and they were black and they lived in LA, for the most part, they lived in that pocket, right? And so when the gangs, you know, you would always hear about the Crips and the Bloods and the Brims and the Pyrus and all that. You heard about it, but it was such a far-fetched reality until the 60s, till the rolling 60s showed
To
up.
the 60s. So the 80s, because now when the 80s roll in, you got crack. You got a whole different element. How did that change the environment that you knew it to be?
Well, first the gang stuff, the rolling 60s and stuff, I think they started showing up late 70s, late 70s. And then crack hit LA, I think like somewhere around 81, 82. And it was the most devastating thing that you could ever imagine. Now, I lost a lot of friends to crack and all that stuff. Like, I mean, some of my very best friends got caught up. And I couldn't understand it because I was like, no, we the good guys. We don't do that.
Right.
But it was taking out innocent family members. It was taking out everybody black touched somebody, knew somebody, or was related to somebody who had touched.
Fact.
And it was like the judges' kids, the doctors' kids. They were all getting caught up in it. And then you're going, because it was turning people into monsters. It was like like vampires. You would see somebody that you knew very well, that you played Little League ball with or something like that. And then the next thing you know, they standing on the corner scratching their temples and looking bad. And hey, baby, can I get $5? And you're going, wow, not him too. So it was a terrible time. It was a very, very terrible time. And it was scary. we didn't realize how scary it was because we're actually living it.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
but I felt it. I really did feel it. And then, you like I said, you had cousins and family members that were dealing with it as well.
Yeah.
So I was just able to navigate with it, navigate through it because, again, my main objective in life growing up as a kid was never to disappoint my mama.
That's a fact.
I'm serious.
That's a fact.
It was like, that woman believes in me. And you knew at an early age when your mama believed in you.
Yeah.
She believed in me, and
that's crazy.
she would stand up straight. No slang in the house. None of that.
Oh.
And she ruled with an iron fist, and I appreciate her for it today because she was no joke.
No, I have a similar experience, growing up with a strong mom and my grandmother. Same thing. I couldn't speak slang. I couldn't speak Ebonics. I couldn't say ain't in the house. My
couldn't
grandmother
either.
would correct me and say ain't is not a word. She used to make me read the encyclopedia, showing my age, read the dictionary, and she would quiz me on the words, So, and it's funny that you say that because our generation, I think, we had that family structure and that bond. And I was the same way. I was the only child. I was a mama's boy. And I can remember being a kid, and sometimes I would get upset. I would cry when I felt like I disappointed my mother. I would get in trouble, and then I would cry because she was mad at me, and I felt like I let her down. For something very, innocuous, but I still would have that same thing that you're saying. And I don't know. I think that's lost on today's kids a little bit. I feel like they don't care. They don't connect with that.
They really don't, because a lot of these kids are being raised by social media now.
Yeah.
And there's no filters on it. There's the FCC doesn't jump in there and say, we're going to filter what you see and what you don't see. And so a lot of times, parents just let their kids stay on their phones or whatever device they're on to get the knowledge of whatever they're getting, because a lot of parents sometimes they're lazy, sometimes they're busy, sometimes they're just trying to, they're trying to run a household. So they don't really have time to pour into their kids anymore. Yeah. And especially in LA, it's expensive out here. It ain't no joke.
Super, yeah. So parents are working, they're grinding.
Yeah.
Yeah. So coming up out of that, seeing all of that, what I'm curious about is, where did that creative bug start? Did you always want to be, were you always a creative? Did you always write? Did you always do that?
I was a dreamer. My biggest issue with my mother was that she would say, son, you're dreaming. You got to get your head out the clouds. And that's the one piece of advice I didn't take from her. Because I was like, nah, Mom, it's got to be a dream, because you have to dream it. You have to see it and understand it and then take the journey. And I think that there were some creative kids in the neighborhood. I had a good friend of mine, this kid DeVorier White, who was an actor, and he was on Roots, and he was on the Jeffersons, and he was on a bunch of different TV shows and movies. He was a kid that played the chauffeur in Die Hard with Bruce Willis.
Yeah, I haven't seen
in
it
the
in
first
a while.
one.
Okay.
Yeah. And so growing up with him, I was able to go on movie sets and TV, but I never saw it as a real thing for me. It was like, oh, that's what they do. But I knew that somehow I wanted to be in the entertainment industry. So I was a TV kid. I'm the kid that while everybody's out throwing the football and hitting baseball in the streets and stuff, I'm stuck watching The Little Rascals. I'm stuck trying to figure out, how do you get inside of that box? How do people get in there? Yeah. And I really didn't understand that it was a business, and I'm glad I didn't, because it was a fantasy. And it's still a fantasy to me to this very day. It's still a fantasy. So I'm not jaded by the business. I love the fantasy of it all. And so I won't say that I was really a creative. My sister was probably more of a creative than I was. With cameras and trying to figure things out. And what my dad did was he brought us a VCR when they first came out. And he didn't even know what it was. And they had these big cameras. My father used to get stuff from his clients. Like if they couldn't pay rent, Mr. Evans, you can take this VCR. This is the newest new technology. And my father was like,
Was
hey,
it
y'all
the one that popped up at the top?
Popped up. And it was like two levels. It was like two pieces, right? And so we just started making like little sketches and skits and stuff like that. We had my mother's lamps with the lampshades off. Like, turn it that way. I think we can get some light, We didn't know what we was doing. But it that's when we first started like trying different things. And I fell in love with the whole creativity of it all. And again, I was too afraid to get caught up into something in the street. So I was like, let's go with the fantasy.
Yeah.
Let's get away from that.
I want to point out. Go ahead, baby.
How have you been able to maintain that fantasy in the industry?
I was just about to
now?
say that.
Yes.
That is, I wanted to point that out so we think in the same way.
Yes.
That is super important that you said that because
And that childlike
yes,
curiosity.
because I've had to learn to do that. You know,
Yeah.
I can remember just being a precocious kid in Kansas City I always had dreams of doing what I came to do, right? Now there's varying levels, but everything that I dreamed about from that space as a kid, you know, by God's grace, it was able to come to fruition. But, you know, like I know life, you know, the business, disappointments, it'll start wearing at that, right?
Yeah.
And then it can make you pessimistic and cynical toward things to where you lose that, right? But I've had to reset myself along the journey and tap into that 12-year-old kid and get that fantasy again. That way you still enjoy it. You still feel like the world is your oyster.
Yeah.
You don't see the problems. You see the fantasy.
Yeah, I think my superpower is my ability to be patient, right?
Mine too. I just
You
posted that.
Literally
I literally
did,
just
though.
posted
You
that.
Did. You did.
I'm
Hold
literally.
on, you got that for me.
I did not.
You
I
got that
didn't.
for
I
me.
promise you, I
You
didn't.
got that
I
for
did
me.
not. I
just
promise
He's
you.
in legacy builders. We
No,
don't know.
I
We don't
promise you. I
I
promise you.
just posted that.
Listen,
I literally just posted that.
Listen, that we
Damn
got a lot
near
in common.
verbatim.
We got a lot in common because
Yeah.
I promise you I did. But you know, I've been patient my entire life, which creates a certain level of happiness.
Yep.
So I always say that maybe 95% of the time I'm happy. It's a gift. I wake up happy.
Oh, that's dope.
I wake up happy. I don't have to work at being happy. Even if something sad is going on, of course you're gonna feel it.
Yeah.
But the overwhelming feeling is I'm still happy and I'm still excited about the next level or what's that next level? What's that new thing, that feeling? And so that's how I've been able to sustain, you know, trying to really understand, let me rephrase that. Trying not to really understand the business aspects of it. Let it be what it is. Yep. Let it be, accept it. Acceptance is freedom. And once you can do that, you can't allow anybody to, you know, to really wreck your dream. I was driving down Tampa maybe about 5 years ago, and I had a Bentley flying spur. I was so excited to get this flying spur. What? I have a new one now, but the old one that I had, I'm turning into a parking lot, and this girl comes and sideswipes me. Actually, she broadsided me and totaled my car on the spot. And I got out of the car. I was mad for all of 10 seconds. And then I realized, it's just a car. And I said, are you okay? She's cussing me out. It's her fault.
She's cussing you out.
She's
Wow.
going
Why she hit
off.
your Bentley?
She got blood coming all out her head and everything.
Oh, damn.
I didn't get a scratch. Me and my brother, we didn't get a scratch. And I'm like this, are you okay? And she's like, at the end of the day, she was fine. And, you know, I told my story. She told hers. They towed the car away. And then I was like, how could somebody be so upset over something like that? Because I've seen people get mad if somebody leaned on their car. And I'm going, yo, it ain't that serious.
Right.
Nothing's that serious. We're going through an experience.
Yeah.
So just let it happen. And understand that everything's not always gonna go your way.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying?
I always say that control is an illusion. I think the best thing that we can do our part to try to influence the outcome, the desired outcome that we want. But at the end of the day, it's gonna be what it's gonna be.
It's gonna be what it is.
It's gonna be what it
There's
is.
nothing you can do about it except for accept it. And if you have the power to change it, then you change what you can change. I never really had expectations. I wasn't a great student because I was a daydreamer, and I used to, you know, get bad marks because I was daydreaming. Sometimes I liked to hang out with the crowd. I was definitely a people person. I love the popular people because I love the attention they got. And I was like, ooh, I like that, but that's not, they're never gonna feel me like that. But so I didn't have a lot of expectations growing up. So therefore, what was the disappointment? So when things started happening for me the way that they were unfolding, it was amazing because it was like, it's my turn. And how did that happen? Don't question it, accept it, and roll with it. You know what I mean? So I just didn't have a bunch of things other than my dreams. And my dreams weren't to become some superstar or some major celebrity or anything like that. My dreams were more so seeing the world, learning other languages, making my mom and dad happy and proud, and being. I had a friend of mine who's, when I was growing up, his uncle was Red Fox.
Oh, wow.
And we were in school when Sanford and Son was on.
Yeah.
And he used to say, yeah, my Uncle Red said this. And I was like, dang, that must be crazy to have an uncle like that. I wish I had that. So since I didn't have that, I decided to be that for my nieces and nephews and for my kids.
That's dope.
And I wanted to see what they could feel like if they could be proud of me. My whole thing was just making people proud.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So the dreamer, right?
Yes.
You're the dreamer.
Yes.
As I am.
Yeah.
So what was your first foray into the business? Was that the PA job on Hollywood Shuffle?
Yeah, I think the first time I ever set foot on a TV set, I got called from a friend of mine who was getting into the business, and he said, "You want to be an extra?" And I was like, "What's that?" He was like, "You know, the people there in the background on the TV." I didn't know what that was. So there was a TV show called T.J. Hooker on TV.
I remember T.J.
Remember
Hooker?
T.J. Hooker?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And so they wanted some basketball players. Again, I don't play no ball, but I
Had to
looked
get
the
your
part.
acting on, huh? You was straight acting.
So I showed up, got a couple of my other tall partners, and we went up there and said, let's just go hang out on set somewhere. And I was still in high school. And so what I loved about the set life was they feed you well. You feel like you're somebody, even though you're the extra.
Yeah.
But you're somewhere else that everybody doesn't have access to, right?
Yeah.
And I felt that special feeling, and I liked the way they were treating these stars, and I was like, wow, it's real. It came into full focus.
Yeah.
And so that was the first time I set foot on a TV set. Now, of course, again, I went back to my reality after that, and it was over. So then this kid in my neighborhood, Tommy Morgan, who's a great friend of mine, to this day, I was with him last night. He came to me one day and was like, "Yo, man, we should be some actors." I say, "You sound crazy." That sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you have to go to school for that. I mean, what are you talking about? He said, "Nah, man, I know this dude. I know this guy, and he's trying to get this project off the ground, and I just met him, and we should just go by his house." And I'm like, well, we're too young to know that you don't just stop by.
Right.
But again, ignorance is great sometimes.
That's
because we went over this guy's house and knocked on his door, and he opens his door, and it's Robert Townsend.
Wow.
And Robert's like this, yeah. We're like, hey, we want to sign up for Hollywood. How we get into Hollywood?
You want to sign up for Hollywood?
Yeah, we want to sign up for Hollywood.
Hilarious.
So he's like, yeah, nah, this is my home, and that's not how this works. But if you're interested in helping me on this film, come back tomorrow and bring some donuts if you're serious. So I got some money from my mama and went and got some donuts, Winchell's Donuts, and took them to the set at 6 a.m. And that's when my eyes opened up. I didn't have a job title. I wasn't even a PA. It was just more like what they called it back then. They called it a pilot. And the pilot meant pile that box over there, pile that over there, pile that. So I just jumped in with Townsend, and I just started hanging out with him. Now, at the time, I'm in junior college, my first year of junior college. Wasn't gonna make it to no university because at that time, I didn't have the patience to make it through school. I can do it now, I bet. But I was like, I don't like it here. This is not where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be around. I hadn't found my people yet.
Yes.
Right?
Find your people.
Gotta
That's
find
important.
your folks,
That's
right?
a fact.
And so once I found Robert and a cast of other characters from
Mm-hmm.
Keenan Ivory Wayans to John Witherspoon to you name it,
Yep.
that's when I knew I had found my folks and this is where I'm supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm smart enough to figure it out, I can make a living here.
What did you learn? Because, I mean, you're around Keenan and you're around Robert, and they were trailblazing in that era.
Yeah.
You know, because you got to think, it wasn't many black producers before them. It was a few.
Yeah.
But not a lot.
Not a lot.
Right? And I know you probably didn't, from that space, you didn't understand what they were fighting for, what they were fighting against. But what did you learn watching Keenan and Robert? Because that was big, the Hollywood Shuffle, to even get it done.
It was big, but first and foremost, it was fun. So I didn't look at the business aspect of
Right,
it.
right.
I didn't see that. That came later.
Right.
What I saw was people portraying characters and being silly, and Keenan doing the Jerry curl.
Yeah,
and
that's
I mean, that was
hilarious.
funny stuff
Yeah,
to me.
yeah.
And so for me, that's what I saw. And I still didn't realize that this was going to be my life. I thought that this was just a trip. I'm taking a trip here, and then I'll probably go get into real estate like my dad, or you know, go get a job somewhere and live the rest of my life doing what people do, have jobs and look forward to the weekends. But that wasn't going to be my life.
Yeah.
But what I learned the most was, but listening to the conversations when you became the fly on the wall, and you're not supposed to be listening, but you're hearing Robert and Keenan talk. And then there, you know, when you get that first invitation to Keenan's house, because he's having a cookout on Sunday, and you go over there and you're hearing Lawrence Hilton Jacobs, like you mentioned,
Yeah.
and it's Boom Boom Washington.
Yeah.
That's Cochise.
Right.
And I couldn't believe that I was around Cochise.
Yeah.
You know, I was in love with that character as a kid. And now I've become friends with him. But at that time, it was like, you know, you start hearing these secret conversations, and then if they like you, they keep you around. And I always knew how to act around a certain level of people. I always knew to humble myself,
Yep.
shut up, and listen.
And listen. Yeah.
And once I started doing that, they knew, oh, he's cool, he can be around. And, you know, sometimes I got kicked out the room, but certain times I didn't. I mean, I can tell you great stories about sitting with a producer friend of mine in Denzel Washington. I'm sitting there and they're having a full conversation for hours, and I'm sitting there hearing the entire conversation. But this is before he became Denzel, but he was still Denzel. So, you know, just being in that space and knowing that, how do you play your position? Because if you play it right, you can ascend to the next level.
That's a fact.
A lot of the friends that I came into the game with, they didn't have that same level of patience and level of contentment and level of humbleness, humility, to be able to go, let this person shine. It's not about me.
That's a fact.
It ain't about me.
Man, you dropping some jewels.
ain't
We
about me.
have traveled similar, you know, paths, because
Yeah.
everything that you're saying is things that I try to tell people and teach people, you know,
Yeah.
and things I just found and learned along the way. My grandmother used to tell me, you know, if you can speak well and you have good manners, it can get you in doors that money can't. You know, and I've always tried to tell people the importance of, like, because what you were doing, you were networking.
Thank you.
You were networking, you know, but at the same time, you're marketing yourself too. You can market yourself in real life.
Yes.
You know, and you're teaching people how to treat you and teaching people who you are. And when you know how to comport yourself and you know how to move in different rooms, and like you said, you listen, you know, it's not about you. And people have a difficult time grasping that concept.
They really
Sometimes
do.
you have to know when it's your moment,
They
right?
really
Exactly.
do.
Yeah, you will have
Know
your
when
moment.
to be the supporting actress.
Yes,
or the
know
actor.
when
You don't
to
have be the
fall
main
back and just
character
play your
all the
role.
time.
It's not about you.
Yeah.
It's not about, it never has been. I can't tell you how many times people have presented me with scripts, and then they'll go, now make sure you read the Matthew role, because that's I'm going to play Matthew, and I'm going, who are you? How could you be that arrogant to
Yeah.
think that you're going to play the lead role in this script that you're handing me?
Exactly.
You might not even get a role if I decide to do it.
Right.
But the smarter way to do it is to get in the door
Get in the
with your
door.
script, and then say, is there a little small role in there for me?
Exactly.
Is there something that I could possibly do?
Mm-hmm.
Then they go, yeah, you know, we got something for you. And now you're networking. You're in there, you're playing the game, and people realize that you know that it's not all about you.
That's a
fact. It ain't never been about me.
No.
Ever.
It's got to be about the work and the project, you know, because same thing with you. I've created projects where, you know, maybe in my mind, I thought, well, I could do this, but no, what's the best for the overall project?
Yeah.
Who can do that? I want the best. If I'm not the best, then shit.
My CSO said it best.
have a
Like,
seat.
shout out to Kiyoki. He said, a great leader knows when to get out the way for a better leader. And I think that, I know, that's my CSO right there. That's my CSO.
Right.
And I was like, dang, you
That's a
know,
fact.
and I appreciate that, because so many opportunities get lost. And saying, watching my dad, you know, go through his career and everything, I'm like, yeah, I just told him a month ago, I said, I finally feel like you're in a space where you have not only your players, but they know how to move with you, not just you moving with them. You
Yeah.
know?
Yep.
So
It's important.
It is very,
Very
important.
important.
I've learned the hard way.
Yeah.
This is my daughter.
Yeah.
And she's kind of, she's at an age where she kind of can respectfully tell me, yeah, Dad, you know, I was watching you do that. I really couldn't say nothing, but now that I'm grown,
Right.
I want to tell you.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. My daughter does the same.
Yeah.
Checks me.
Yeah. Isn't it humbling that when you grow and you look to your kids for certain things, or they pull your coattail this stuff?
Yeah.
It's humbling.
It's humbling. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, people say, man, you got a lot of people that work for you. I go, I don't really like the term that they work for me. They do, but I don't like that term. I partner with a lot of people. You know, everybody that I'm working with, they're partners to a certain degree. My assistant is like, she's my partner because she helps me organize and stay in the pocket, making sure that I don't miss certain things and certain things don't fall through the cracks. I try to, you know, like at work, I'm very kid-like because I'm happy.
Yeah.
And I want everybody else around me to be happy. And I realize I can't make everybody happy, but that's my desire. I'm like, yo, we could do this together. We can all make some money.
That's right.
I want to see everybody happy doing what they want to do.
Right.
I really do. That's always been my point of view.
That's probably why you've always been blessed and won too. And so what you're speaking to is the importance of teamwork. Though people see Bentley and, you know, but there's a whole system with Bentley, behind Bentley, that allows Bentley to be Bentley and be efficient and effective. Because you can't do everything. We can't do everything.
Can't do it all.
Yeah.
That's the downfall. I think, you know, watching my father, who was a professional, independent professional, I often think about the struggles that he had. He came up, he was born in 1928.
Dang.
So imagine what he saw. He did get a chance to see Obama. I love that. He did get it. He's not seeing what's happening right now.
Right.
But he did get a chance to see that, and what a blessing. But watching him navigate, he was a G, man. My pops was a G. This dude, he wore a suit and tie every day. He drove Lincoln Continentals. He was smooth. Everybody liked him. When he went in the bank, Mr. Evans, come up to the front of the line. You ain't got to wait.
That's
that line.
dope.
And so watching him navigate, I may have seen my father mad 5 times in my life.
Wow.
Maybe.
So he was a patient man.
Very. I never got a whooping. Not from him. My mama was. She used to hand them out.
I
So
feel it.
listen, my wife is the her mother is the disciplinarian too.
Yeah.
They not afraid of me. They afraid of their mama.
There you go. Same with mine. You know. But my pops was just cool. He was so patient. I remember one time I was ditching school, and I figured he ain't coming home. So I had all my friends come over to the house, and we watching Scarface. and you know, they was cussing and going crazy at Scarface. And the front door opened up. My father walked in, and one of my friends said, Bentley, your pops just walked in the front door. And I went, oh. He walks in the house. He said, talk to you in the kitchen. I walk in the kitchen. You know what my father said? He ain't say nothing. He never mentioned school. He said, you know, all that profanity, you got to turn that down. And I was like this, who is this guy? Right? But it was just, you know, kind of, I think I pick up a lot of his personality traits by watching him, because I liked the way that people respected him and that people wanted to be around him and work for him and all that stuff. Whereas my mother was no nonsense. She's like, I don't like nobody, and I don't want nobody in my house.
Right. So how did you go from PA doing extra work to now becoming the creative and getting into the writing aspect of it?
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy. What I did was, once I went through the process of being a PA on Hollywood Shuffle and doing everything, at that point in time, I saw a movie from day one all the way to its completion, and then I learned what the business was. I learned it by just being a fly on the wall. I saw what the editing process was. I saw that somebody has to sit down now and go and take that script and do an as broadcast script and all that kind of stuff. I saw every level of the game, and I knew right away that acting was not necessarily my calling, although I did it. But that wasn't my calling. My calling was I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to be a producer. I wanted to be what Robert Townsend was. And I told him, and he slow down, buddy. Slow down. You ain't ready for that yet.
Yeah.
I've been in the game for a minute. You need to get into acting. And so for me, spending all that time as a PA on Hollywood Shuffle, I got my SAG card because he made sure that I had a line in Hollywood Shuffle. I didn't even know what a SAG card was. But I got into the union.
Yeah.
And so from there, you meet different people that become the connectors in your life and help you get to the next level of the game if you're paying attention.
Right.
Opportunity does knock at your door all the time. People say it doesn't. It does.
Yes.
Most people just don't
Just
answer
have
the
to
door.
be prepared. Yeah.
You know, they go, there ain't nobody. I met so many people in that experience that I'm still friends with today. And one of those people was Kim Wayans. And Kim Wayans introduced me to my first agent. My first Hollywood agent was a brother, Desmond Gums, who had an agency called Matrix. And some of the clients at Matrix, Brad Pitt was one of the clients at Matrix.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. And so from that experience, I was able to move through there, and I started going on auditions and started booking commercials and stuff. I had a unique look. I was 6 foot, probably 3 or so at that time, and wiry. And so again, I got all the auditions for the basketball players. There, that basketball player role comes again. And then I started booking. I started getting confident with it, and then I got into a Marla Gibbs school. I went to school with Tyra Banks and a few different people like that. And so I started making my way through the industry, and then I started palling around with Keenan and his younger brothers, Sean and Marlon, who were little kids at the time. And when they came out here, we became the best of buddies. I was like their surrogate big brother.
Yeah.
So which means now that I got more access to Keenan, now I'm hearing more conversations. And so from there, you start making different moves in the game. I got to be a stand-in for I'ma Get You Sucker. I was Keenan's stand-in. And so again, here I am again at a very early stage in my career where I see 2 movies back to back being filmed from start to finish. Well, if I didn't learn anything there, I wasn't gonna learn anything. So I saw the whole game played out, and I knew that's the seat I got to get in. And I also got to make these people like me and know me, so that when they're doing something else, they're gonna call me. I didn't get the call for 5 Heartbeats. I didn't get that call, Robert. But I just wanted to be around it, and so therefore from there, I decided, okay, I'm gonna be an actor. I got on A Different World, and I met Kadeem Hardison, and I met Lisa Bonet and Jasmine Guy and Don Lewis, who I'm still good friends with. So many of them. And then I started making my way through the industry. Now I'm auditioning and I'm getting the parts. I'm getting the parts, and I'm going, dang, that was easy. Because all I got to do is make the casting directors like me. Oh, they're going to love me. I'm bringing gifts every time I come in.
Yeah.
It was just my way of doing whatever I was trying to become. And so I was able to navigate that experience into the writing aspect of it all. Now I'm hanging out because Robert's a comedian, Keenan was a comedian, Damon was my hero as a comedian, all these comics. Now I'm hanging out at the Comedy Store. I'm getting in the mix. I'm getting in it. I'm meeting Roseanne Barr. I'm meeting Eddie Murphy, who was the ultimate to me. I'm seeing it happen in real time, and I'm going, wow, this is fascinating. This is amazing to me. Amazing. Now I'm making my way through again. So again, now I'm making my way through. Then I run across this other comedian that's new in town by the name of Martin Lawrence.
Martin Lawrence. Yeah.
Right? And I'm going, he's funny. Dude is funny. Then I see him on TV on Star Search.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm going, yo, this dude right here, I seen this dude. I met him. And so now I'm like, I'm hanging out in this circle. I'm playing sports with these people on the weekends. I'm just being in the party scene. Because I hate to be in the party scene. I hated to be in it, but it became a part of my life.
Right.
I started hanging. I was in the parties. I was in them streets, okay? And so, but I realized that was part of the process to get to the next level. And so I started writing. I would sit at home and I would write episodes of The Cosby Show. I would go, yeah, I like the way that episode was, but I would have changed it. And I started writing scripts on notebook paper.
Oh, wow.
Literally. And so to just fast forward and get to the point, when I'm hanging out with Martin, by this time we're friends. We had booked a couple of shows together. We did a TV series together for ABC that he and I starred in with Eric LaSalle and who else was in that? Jim Brown, Isaac Hayes. It was like a spinoff of I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. And I booked the role that Damon Wayans played in the movie. I booked it in the TV series, and Martin had the role that Kadeem Hardison played in the movie.
Okay.
So I can't remember the characters' names. Willie and I can't even remember
The two brothers.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we booked those roles, and then so from there I was like, okay, my career's getting ready to take off. Thank God that show didn't get picked up, because Martin may not be Martin at that time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it didn't get picked up, and but now we forged a friendship. We're buddies at this time, and so I remember going to a Clippers game, and Martin says to me, we're going together, and he says, faux pas, by the way, I'm a Laker fan, but we're going to the Clippers game, and he says to me, look, man, they want to do this show, and in those days, the comedians would do showcases like at the Comedy Store, and the networks and the studios would come out to see you do your thing. And he had done something, and I think HBO had taken an interest in him. And so they said, hey, we want to do something with you. So he says, I'm just telling you as common courtesy as a friend, basically. Probably wasn't in those words, but you get the gist. He was like, if I blow up, I don't want you to say that, I ain't look out for my boy. So you should tell me right now what it is that you're trying to do. You want to audition for one of the roles? And I was like, I saw the opportunity, man. I saw it so clear. I said, nah. I want to be in that writing room. I want to be on that writer's staff. He said, what? Nah, man, I'm talking about something realistic, like acting. I said, no, that's what I want to do. I want to be a writer. And he said to me, man, that's what the white boys do. And I said, I know, man, but I could write. Now, he's shooting House Party at the time, House Party 2. And he says, just come down to the set and we'll talk about it. So I go down to the set the next day, and I take him a handful of scripts. I tell a stack. And I say, yo, man, I got these scripts. He's damn near in the middle of a scene. He goes, yo, man, put those in my dressing room. You can't bring those on the set. So I left him in his dressing room, and then I left. So he calls me up and says, where you go? I was looking for you. I said, man, I was letting you handle your business, man, but I left those scripts there. He said, oh, all right, I'll check them out. I said, well, I don't know if he's ever going to read or whatever. He calls me the next day, and he says, bro, I am so sorry. I had no idea. Bro, you need to come to my house right now.
Wow.
I had no idea you were this talented. Did you write these scripts? I see every one of them. He said, whatever I do, you have to be my writer. Now I felt empowered. Now I felt like I found it. I found
Your
my
hands
lane.
start glowing. You start getting the glow.
The glow.
Start getting the glow.
Like,
You're the master.
I was like this, it's really happening to me.
Yeah.
Still didn't necessarily believe it, but I was still like, it's happening. So now he starts taking me to all these meetings with him, and I'm going. And I go, one of the meetings we went to was at 20th Century Fox Studios, and we would drive on the line. I'm going, we made it. We here. And when we go to the meeting, and I've told this story before, but it was just funny how it happened, because when we walk down the hall, we're seeing all these movie stars on the wall, from Charlie Chaplin to you name it. And we get there and they're like, Mr. Lawrence, they're waiting for you in the conference room. And he says, come on, Ben. And they're like, oh no, your friend can sit here in the waiting room. And, you know, and I said, cool, I'll sit here in the waiting room. And he looked at me like, what? And so he said, oh, no, I'm not going in there if he can't come in. So lo and behold, I end up going in this meeting with him, and all these executives are in the meeting. All these white faces. And John Bowman, who ended up creating the Martin Show, is in the room, you know, young cat in his 30s. I'm probably early 20s at the time. And so they're asking me, so, sir, what is it that you do? And Martin's like, yeah, tell them what you do. I said, well, I'm a writer, you know, I write. Well, what have you written? Yeah, well, I got, you know, I got these Cosby Show scripts, and they're looking at me like
what the hell?
I said, Keenan's talking about letting me, you know, write a couple of sketches for In Living Color. And, you know, I'm playing the game, right? And so they're like, yeah, well, that's not going to work. Anyway, Martin, this is John Bowman. He's going to partner with you, and you guys are going to come up with something. So anyway, to make the long story short, I'm sitting there. I felt like an idiot at that time, but I still just played it. We leave the meeting. Martin don't say a word to me. He don't even speak to me. He's so infuriated with me at this time, and I couldn't understand why until later. We got to the car, and he just looked at me and said, look, man, don't never do that again. I said, what did I do? He said, bro, you belong in that meeting, man. Now, if you're going to take this ride with me, you got to believe in yourself. You got to learn your self-worth. If I took you in that meeting, you don't say, I'll sit outside. No, this is what they do. And it was amazing that a young cat like that understood that level of importance and respect in the game in our early 20s. He said, nah, man, you belong. But if you don't want to take the ride, I understand. And it was a very lonely ride home in the car that day, because I was like, I couldn't really understand why he was mad at me.
He wanted you to stand in your power.
Yeah, he wants you to boss up.
He wanted me to boss up, bro.
He wants you to boss
He
up.
wanted me to boss up because he was ready to boss. He was bossing up.
That's what I'm about to say. So Martin had that in him already. He already knew past the talent, the business. He's like, nah. This
One
is
of
what
the
we
strongest people that I've ever met in my entire life. A real boss, a real power broker, a guy that really understood his self-worth and understands it to this day, and still making moves. But anyway, after that, I get a phone call and they say, look, you know, we know Martin wants you to be involved in his writing. Now, obviously, you're not going to write his show. You're not creating his show. We've already got somebody for that. But we want you to come in and talk to us. So I had to go do an interview with the head writer, John Bowman. And I started talking to John, and I said, I'm going to make him fall in love with me. He's going to like me, because I'm going to say, I'm pushing all the right buttons. And that's what happened. John was like this, hey, I need a guy like you around. So you know Martin's voice, right? I was like, yeah, that's my guy. I run with this dude every day. So he was like, okay, we're going to get you on that writing staff. And that's how I made the transition from PA to actor to writer. And once I got in that writer's room, I'm trying to tell you it was a love affair. I fell in love with the business even more. And I said, this is where I'm supposed to be. I'm not supposed to be in front of the camera because I never had that confidence anyway. I'm supposed to be here where the puppeteers hang out.
Exactly.
Right, where the power people are.
So
That's where the power.
It sounds like you've been kind of like, even though you've been in these situations, you still kind of been on the outside looking in, even though you're in it. Is that when you settled into it for yourself? Like, no, I'm one of these people. I'm in it. It's me too, not just them over there.
I don't know that I still have. I don't know that I have yet.
He's like,
I still feel like it's a fantasy that I don't want to wake up from.
Okay.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. That's an amazing feeling, though. That's an amazing feeling.
It really is.
Let me ask you, what is your process of fleshing out a script, of coming up with this concept? And I know TV and motion pictures are a little different, a lot different, actually.
Yes.
But what's your process?
My process is the starting point is usually, I always see you write what you know. That's where you start. So I always look at great people's stories, and when people are talking, I'm just looking at them, looking through them, really going, I hear your story. I hear a story that you don't even know that I'm going to take and I'm going to turn it into something, right? So my process is to have conversations with interesting people, people that I find interesting. And then I hear these little nuggets and jewels, and then I'll hear like one spark of something, and then I'll go, I can turn that into a flame by adding some other stuff, building. And so my process is, and it varies project by project. I'll give you a for instance, if I can. MC Light came to me. I'm a fan. I love MC Light. And we've become the best of friends. We're so tight. And she says to me, I got this idea I want to turn into a show. And I said, okay, well, come by the office, let's talk about it. And she comes in and she pitches it, and I saw it right away. I was like, it's just you. It's just a show about you in a different realm. It's you after the game, after the rap game. And we can make a comedy out of it. And so she's talking, I'm writing, my daughter's typing. And so she says, what do you think about it? I said, when do you want to start? And she goes, what are you talking about? I mean, I just wanted to give you the idea. I said, well, you came here serious. So can you be here tomorrow so we can get this on paper?
Wow.
And I jump right in. I don't have time to play with it. It's like, if you have a concept and I think it's good, let's try it. I don't have nothing but time, so let's use our time for something constructive. And so that's part of my process. When I hear it, I'm like, let's jump on it right away, and like, let's make something tangible out of it, whether it's a pitch deck, a script, or whatever. I said, let's not play with going out and pitching. I don't believe in pitching anymore. I don't like that process.
I hate that process, bro.
It's the worst.
Oh God,
it's the worst.
I hate it. And by the way, for the listener and for the viewer, you're talking about the show Partners in Rhyme on All Black.
Yes. I'm talking about Partners in Rhyme. That's how that happened. And so, you know, because once you have something in your hand, now it's easy to go convince somebody to give you some money for it. And so we came up with this script, and then I called this gentleman, Brett Dismute.
You know, we've had him on the show. Oh, yeah. That's my guy.
Okay,
That's my guy.
It's my dude. I called Brett and I said, yo, I know he's a hip hop head.
Oh,
right?
He came on the show. We talked half the show about music.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I say, B, check this out. I'm going to bring MC Light over to your office. He said, what? Yeah. So I take Light over there, and Light starts talking to him. You know how Light talks. Yo, you know, Brett, what I want to do is.
Yes.
And
by the way, just MC Light has become more beautiful with age.
Man,
she become so graceful and just she's so beautiful.
She is, man, and she knows who she is, where she is, and I've become very close with her. And but she is definitely. But Brett falls in love at the table and says, hey, whatever y'all want to do. Now Brett's process is usually, oh, well, we're a year out, you know, we'll take you know. He was
I
like,
know that one well.
I'm serious, you know?
I know, I've been through it. I've been through it with
so
Brett.
You understand.
Yeah, I got the year out.
Okay, so I did too. With that
year out.
So he's like this, yo, I gotta move this project to the front of the line because I believe in it. And so the next thing you know, we go through the development process. A year later, we're shooting the show. And so that's kind of the process. Like I said, it just really varies. You know, when Martin and I and another gentleman, Kenny Buford, came up with A Thin Line Between Love and Hate, what happened was very, very simple. We're sitting in the backyard after rehearsal on the Martin show, and we hanging out in the backyard, and the song comes on. And Martin goes, hey, Ben, you ever really listen to this song? I'm like, yeah, it's A Thin Line Between Love and Hate. Of course, we grew up listening to that. He goes, no, but you ain't listening to the story. You ain't listening to the story. Martin's intense. He's serious about everything. He said, you got to listen to the story. I go, okay, I'm gonna listen to the story. And then I'm listening to it again, and he goes, what did you get out of that? I said, it's the Black Fatal Attraction. He goes, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's it. You hear? Exactly. So he's like this, we got to figure that out. We got to figure that out. Now, mind you, he's already done, I think at the time he had done Bad Boys 1 at the time. So he's kind of elevated to major
movie star. He's coming.
And so I said, well, let me take a stab at the script. So I wrote the first draft of the script by myself.
Wow.
And then once I gave it to him when he got back off of one of his little tours, I gave it to him and he was like, yo, that's pretty good, but I'm gonna put you with Kenny and then you and Kenny see what you guys can do, and let me give you my notes. And then we collaborated, and then Martin was like, all right, let me bring in the rest of the team. Now it became a team effort, and we turned this script into what I considered gold.
Yeah.
And we sold it to Fox Studios, right? So now we got offices on the Fox lot. It was really a cool situation, but then it turned into something else once we began to look at casting for it, and Lynn Whitfield walked in the door, and we were all blown away. We're like, rewrite, because it wasn't ready for that.
I was going to ask you that. That was, oh man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
My question was going to be in that processing. Do you write with characters or actors in mind, or do you just write and then place?
I always write with characters in mind,
Okay.
with actors in mind, even though most of the time they never play the roles, but I always use them as a template. When we were doing A Thin Line Between Love and Hate, you know who the template was for the actress? It was Jada Pinkett.
Oh, wow.
Jada was hot because Jason's
She
lip.
definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we were like, Martin was like, yeah, I want to do a movie with Jada. So I was like, all right, we'll figure that out. But, you know, what we ended up doing was kind of turning the Regina King character into the Jada, the friend role, tomboy friend role. And then when Lynn came in and she brought that powerhouse audition, it was like this, ooh, older woman scorned by a dude? Oh, Black Fatal Attraction for real.
She played that. She played that role.
played
She
that
landed
role.
that.
Do you know they're still doing, I don't know if you know, but so Thin Line Between Love and Hate it was trending about a month or two ago again, because there was now TikTok and YouTube breakdowns saying, you know what? Now that I'm grown, she's not the villain. So now they're breaking it down, and they have all these think pieces now on TikTok and YouTube. Breaking the movie down.
Yeah, he was a villain. He was
was.
he was the villain. He toyed with somebody's emotions, and they said,
Yeah.
not today.
Yeah.
But like I said, the creative process for me, it's really simple. It's just sitting down and really thinking something all the way through, and saying I can make a story out of that, and I can put it in whatever format it's going to be, whether that's a TV show in a 22-minute format, which is half hour, or a full-length feature film. I didn't realize that I could do something on my own, though, until it's really crazy. A friend of mine who happens to be my business partner now, Trent Gums, he comes to me in 2000, year 2000, and this is long after the Jamie Foxx Show, long after Martin. Well, not long after Jamie Foxx. We had just ended. And I don't know what the next move is. I don't really know where I want to go. You know, young cat, a couple of dollars in his pocket. I don't know where I want to go. I'm taking some time off to get to know my kids, right? They're babies. And my friend Trent comes to me and says, hey, man, I got this script idea I want to do for this movie. Well, it probably wasn't the best written script. Especially because I had been through the script program. He hadn't done that. And I said, where are you going to shoot at? He goes, in Jamaica, but I was wondering if I could hold a little bit of cash. I was like, oh, here we go. Right?
He said, here we go.
So I said, well, what you need, man? He's like, man, you know, I probably could do something for about $5,000. Now, at the time, movies are being made for $20 million.
That's a fact. Yeah.
$5,000.
Right.
Let me appease my friend and give him this $5,000. I thought that was the last of it. That I'd never see that 5,000 again. So him and his brother and a crew, they go down to Jamaica and they shoot some stuff with these Canon XL, these little cheap cameras that they had come up with at the time. And he brings me the footage back, and I said, wait, angles? You guys actually with no crew? He's like, yeah, man, we just did it ourselves. Light bulb went off. I was like,
Yeah.
Independence.
Independence.
Wow. But I'm afraid of independence at the time because I'm coming from a studio system.
Exactly.
I'm going, we don't do that. I don't know if they're going to like us to do that.
Yeah.
But I like what you guys did. I said, let me give you some more money, but this time I want to go too. So we go down to Jamaica again. Now I take the script and I start doing some rewrites with Trent, and we come up with something that we liked. And we shot an entire feature film, and it was the first time that I had ever done it where I paid for it. I brought the crew down there. It was like I'm in total control for the very first time. Although I created the Jamie Foxx Show, I was never in control. I was the showrunner for Martin. I became that after a while, but I was never really in control.
Right.
Martin was in control. Jamie was in control. This time, I'm in total control. I'm calculating every move. And it was the first time I went through every step that I had already known from Robert to Keenan. All these flashes are hitting me until we finished it and edited it and got it into the can. And then we took it out for distribution and got our own distribution deal. That was the changing point. That was the pinnacle point where I realized I have the power to control my destiny.
Let me ask you, so, because I come from the music world, so I liken it to being on a major label and then going independent.
Yes.
They both have their pros and cons, you know. So, and I'm a proponent for independence all day, because now you're talking about ownership. But how was that transition? Because with a major, even though you didn't have control, you still have all the perks. Everything is easy. You have time, you have a budget, it's not your money, you're not really risking a lot. But now independence, you know, you have smaller budgets, you got to get it done, it's more stressful. Was that hard for you to adjust to, coming from the machine?
It's still very hard to adjust. Listen, you gotta imagine a 25-year-old kid on a golf cart riding through Universal Studios, the hottest show on the lot, and you rolling around seeing movie stars and waiting, hey, Will Smith, hey. And your office is cleaned every night.
Yeah.
And I mean, whatever furniture you want.
Yeah.
And, I mean, literally a perk account.
Yeah.
And then going from that to Warner Brothers was it was a mind-blowing experience. I'm on the Warner Brothers lot, and I have one of the biggest offices on the lot, and ER shooting next door, and Friends is here, and I'm sharing a conference room with Friends. And so my mind was blown that early on, now taking the backseat.
Right.
I wouldn't have done it unless I was forced to do it. It happened out of necessity. It wasn't that I wanted to go independent.
Oh, wow. What was the necessity? What happened?
Hollywood stopped calling.
Oh, right.
They were done.
So hold on.
They were done.
So hold on. So hold on. Because you got hit movie with Thin Line Between Love and Hate. It did well at the box office.
Yeah.
You got hit show, Jamie Foxx, Martin. And I noticed that the shows that you do tend to get a good run.
Yeah.
So we're not just talking about one season. You have several shows where several seasons. So you're talking about consistency and a formula that obviously works. And even with all that, they stopped calling.
Well, think about it. I caught a wave. So when the Martin show started, we were like part of that wave. It was In Living Color.
Right.
It was Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Martin. We were like the beginning of that wave. And it swelled so large to where they had to create a UPN and a WB network
and the CW and
to sustain all of this blackness.
Right.
Because it was blowing up. We hadn't seen it since the Cosby Show.
And you did That Girl.
Love That Girl.
Love That Girl.
All that stuff it's blowing, blowing. And then all of a sudden they merged WB and UPN to become the CW, and they get rid of all the black shows. So now
it's kind of like a almost gentrification of content.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And so at that point in time, it wasn't really a need for me anymore. So now they're not looking at me at the age of 30. Now they're looking at the younger version of me who's coming behind me.
So that even happens in writing?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because everybody's bubbling. Everybody's coming from being a PA. They're coming from...
Then they don't have to pay them like they have to pay you.
Them. I wasn't college educated, so I'm not coming in with a degree. You know, it's funny. This business is really weird. They're so excited about, oh, well, he went to Harvard, so that means he's funnier than me?
Right.
Exactly.
He ain't funnier than me.
I don't even see how, even as a business, I'm not saying that he couldn't be, but you already have proof. You already have.
They don't care. The game doesn't care. They thought that I was a fluke. They knew that, well, we got to get Martin, so we got to take his boy. See what I'm saying? Jamie Foxx Show, a little different. I got a deal at Warner Brothers at the time, but still it was like, let's appease Jamie. I don't think they ever thought that the show was going to work. And 100 episodes later, there we were. So now I wasn't quote unquote hot anymore. So, you know, I could have said, let me go sit in somebody else's writer's room and let me go do this. And I know Tracy Morgan, he's got a show. Let me go. I just didn't want to do that. So I was like waiting for that next big thing, and the next big thing never showed up. It wasn't coming.
Oh, wow.
So that's when I say I was forced into independence, because I realized once I saw that and I understood that you could do it yourself.
Yeah.
And it didn't cost a lot of money, and that you really control the budget. Hollywood budgets are inflated. Once I really realized that you can get rid of all the fat.
Yep.
Get rid of it
Trim
all.
the fat. That's
Trim
a
the
fact.
fat.
That's a fact.
And get down to the real cost of it all.
Yeah. We don't have to shoot, 2 pages in one day. No. And, and you paying light, you paying for all of this shit, $100,000 a day. We can speed this process up.
Bro, you know how many pages I shot last night?
What, 10?
Connie, how many pages we shoot last night? 45, bro.
Shit.
We shot 45 pages yesterday.
Oh, wow.
In a 14-hour day.
Wow.
And I'm a beast. I'm a beast.
So that does take a lot of preparation, though, because folks got to hit their marks. They got to hit their marks.
They should.
Yeah.
But, sometimes actors are lazy.
Yeah.
And I won't say that it was the smoothest transition last night, but I have shot 57 pages in a day, and they were on their P's and Q's. But it's also how it's scheduled and how many wardrobe changes and shot lists and yada, yada, yada.
So quick question, just technical, just for my edification, to move that around, to move that along faster, are you shooting with more cameras or less cameras to get that timely?
The particular show that I'm doing now is a show called Mind Your Business, and Columbus Short stars in it, and Drew Sidora and Karen Ward Ross, a lot of household names that we know. And it's a sitcom. So I still love the sitcom space. I haven't given up on the sitcom space, the multi-cam sitcom. So I shoot with 4 cams.
Okay.
So I'm shooting with 4 most of the time, which definitely speeds up the process. And that's what I pretty much was trained on. So.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. So you coming from the age of shooting on 35 millimeter, you know, and the expensive shit, right?
Yeah.
And then we go to this digital age, right? So like music, because now, it's more affordable, any and everybody can do it. So now with the explosion of the independents, and you see, shout out to Detroit, you see what they have a movement up there. You have places like Homestead, Dennis Reed. You have these guys that are cornering the market. Tubi, of course, a few years back. So now you have streaming. It's easier to get stuff out there. It's easier to produce. Do you think that to some degree compromises the integrity of the process? And the quality of the content?
I would probably sound like an old relic if I said yes. So I'm gonna say no. And here's what I mean by that. I think that now is the best time, the greatest time that there ever has been in the history of the entertainment industry to make content, to make entertainment and distribute it to the masses. Now is the greatest time that you will ever have. The young people don't understand it because it's their life. They're in it. I'm not in it. I've already seen it. I'm trying to tell them how to take advantage of it, but they don't realize they were born with the internet. So it's no big deal to them. I'm going, do you know? Do you know if I had what you
I had to go to the library.
Hold on. That's the same thing I say to artists nowadays, because see, I'm from the 90s where you had physical costs. You had CD manufacturing, distribution, shipping costs, posters. And I'm like, all y'all got to do is upload it? Back in the day, a cheap music video on 16 millimeter cost you $50,000. I'm like, you can shoot a video for $1,000 now. Why are you not shooting videos every day, every week? So I know that. I say the same thing to the artists. Like, man, if I had this in the 90s, I'd have been win 1,000 times platinum.
Exactly. And so they don't understand the importance of what's been presented to them because it's a part of their natural progression. Well, for me, I can see it and I can look at it and go, the quality doesn't have to be compromised, but you have to just think different. You can't it's the business changed, so you got to change. You can't just go
That's
and
right.
shoot 3 pages a day anymore.
That's right.
That ain't gonna work.
No.
We got.
Yeah.
So, like I said, to reiterate, I think that now is the greatest time ever to be in the game as a content producer, content creator, because you can make your own stuff. You can make your own sets at home.
Yeah.
You can, and with green screen, with the capabilities that exist with green screen and compositing, it's amazing. I shoot a show with the Harlem Globetrotters and Craig Robinson right now, and it's on NBC in the mornings, and it's all green screen.
Craig Robinson, the actor?
Yes.
Yeah, the comedian.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it's like, when I walked on set, I was like, we gonna do it all in this little room? It looks like he's in an arena.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's mind blowing. And then you see what Kevin Hart is doing with Jay-Z and the different people he's interviewed, where he's in this wine cellar, but it's green screen.
Hold on. That's not a wine cellar?
Now they shoot in the same place I do the Harlem Globetrotters.
Is that
show.
at Heartbeat?
No, this is at
Oh,
sorry,
wow.
Kevin, for giving that up. But that's what it is.
We can edit that out.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want people pulling up there. But
Wow.
oh wow,
That looks
I thought that
good.
was a fucking.
It looks amazing.
Listen, I literally was thinking like, damn, Kevin, they put some money into that
No, I
set.
thought
Like,
that
where
too.
they?
Yeah, I
That's
was like-
crazy.
Nah, it's just
wow.
they just use the practical, so they'll have the couch and the the
of
rug
course.
and the little
But
things
you
like
obviously
that.
have to have someone that lights that correctly. Because the
There you
one thing that I don't like about green screen, and maybe because I just see people that do it shitty, is the noise. It looks like green
You're
screen.
somewhere.
Yeah.
You're on it. Yeah.
I
get
never
you.
knew that. That is crazy. Oh,
I have
that's
a
amazing.
question.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the industry migrating out of Los Angeles right now and having all of these like Oregon, Detroit, Tulsa, New Orleans,
Louisiana, the Carolinas,
yeah.
those
How do you feel?
tax incentives
Wyoming,
for
you know?
production.
It's a sad reality. And here's what I mean by that.
Yeah.
Come on, man. We're in California.
Yeah.
Right? This is the home of Hollywood.
Yeah.
How could the governor not give the same type of tax credit that they give in Georgia?
It's not even smart.
That's a fact.
What are you thinking? We even had Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's an actor, was the governor. He didn't pass that. What are you doing? So they're allowing these other small subcultures to take over California.
They are, brother.
Yes.
And it's too late.
Yeah.
I don't think we can get it back.
It's cracking in Oklahoma, even Missouri, where I'm from.
They got a tax credit there too?
Yes, an amazing one. Yeah.
Bro, they're
the
doing-
Carolinas.
Carolinas, they got Columbia
Yep.
is doing them now. The DR is doing them.
Yeah.
And it's like, you got to go with the flow of it all. Like right now, I realized last night when I was shooting, I might be one of maybe 10 productions happening in LA right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
actually heard
Yes.
about you. I have, I think my friend Jasmine, you know Jasmine Lewis.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so she was telling me, she was like, yeah, Bentley, I think he's got his own little Tyler Perry thing going on out here.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, no, that's cool. We rapping for the West Coast because we were talking about this.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you say that because I said to myself, I said, oh, okay, he gonna hold it down. Like, you know,
Yeah,
he like, nah,
seriously.
this
Yeah.
California. This is what we do.
Well, the only difference between this and Atlanta, you know, where Tyler has made his fortune, is it's so expensive here to shoot, to live, to do everything.
Yep.
I think where part of the ideology to get the whole thing happening here was I went to work at Tyler Perry Studios when he first started out. Once he started doing Meet the Browns or so, my agent called me and said, white agents are hilarious. Hey, do you know the brother Tyler Perry? I was like, yeah, I met Tyler. I met her. No, listen, he's got this operation, and you should go meet him. You should go down.
Like he putting you up on
Yeah,
game.
like he put me
Like
up
he
on
put you
game,
up on
right?
game.
And I'm like this,
They love
hey,
to do
bro,
that.
I already know what's happening. So I go down to Atlanta. It was a bunch of us, a bunch of writers that went down there. And we sit in this room and Tyler comes in and he's like, glad you brothers could be here, yada, yada, yada. I'm doing this new show, Meet the Browns. It's based on my movie. Take a look at it. So we go sit down in this dude's massive theater and I'm blown away when I drive on the lot. I literally almost shed a tear because and this ain't even the studio he's at now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was like, yo, what? Waterfalls and all kinds of Tyler Perry studios.
Yeah.
Tripped me out. So, but once I got over that shock value, I realized what it was. I stayed down in Atlanta for about a month, and I wrote a few episodes of Meet the Browns. I don't even think I've ever seen them to this day. But that wasn't what the assignment was. The assignment was to go and see what's really happening down there.
Yep.
And I saw Tyler doing his thing, and I was like, got it. Now I meet this other brother. This was interesting. I meet this brother named Will Hollins. I meet him in the middle of the night down in Atlanta while I'm working at Tyler's studio. Friend of mine, family member of mine, takes me out to this guy to see this guy named Will. I'm like, who we going? You gotta meet him. Don't ask no questions. So we pull up to this little, like a little storefront, mini mall type of situation. And this brother comes out, he got on a suit and tie, and it's the middle of the night. And he says, Bentley Kyle Evans, brother, what a pleasure it is to meet you. Deep Southern accent. And I'm like, oh, okay, boss, what's happening? How you doing? He's like, brother, it's a pleasure to have you in Atlanta. I hear you're working over at Tyler's studio. I said, yeah, I'm just over there freelancing, doing a few things. He goes, I want to show you something. Takes me in this building, and we sit down in his office, and he pops in a DVD. And on the screen, this sitcom comes on, and it's got Jasmine Guy and all these Robin Givens, these familiar faces, and I'm going, what is this? He said, it's a show I shot. I said, what is it? He goes, it's a new show that I created and I shot it. I said, how you do that? He said, come on, man, you ain't asking me that. You know how to do that. I said, I don't. What are you talking about? I said, where'd you do it? He said, let's take a walk. We walked down this hallway, and we opened up these warehouse doors, and it was all these sets.
Wow, soundstage, yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
I said, what is this?
But he's in Georgia. He can do that.
He can do it.
He can do that. It's
And
not $20 million for the
Right.
building
No,
like
man.
LA. Yeah.
No,
Right.
nothing.
Right.
So I sat there in awe. I say, man, you mind if I have the room to myself for a minute? I went and sat on those sets there. I'm sitting there going, because I'm going, how could you have not figured this out, Bentley?
Right.
How could you have not known that you could do this?
Yeah.
But I had to see it. And so from that point on, he said, man, I'd love it if you came down and directed some episodes. So I went down there and directed a handful of episodes. And from that point on, I said, got it. I got to go back to LA and do it. I can do this at home.
Replicate it. Yeah.
And
Take
this-
the game and run with
I
it.
replicated it. And that brother, you know, he showed me something. Tyler showed it to me on a bigger level. He showed it to me at grassroots.
Yes.
And I said, I could do that. And I partnered with my boy Trent. I said, yo, I need you to come to LA. Let's figure this out. And that's how we started our studio, Harvest Studios.
That's what I heard about, Harvest Studios. Let me ask you, do you prefer to solely fund your own stuff, or do you raise money?
You know what? It's very rare that I raise money. And there's two reasons for that. One is I hate owing people money, man. I don't like that feeling of somebody going, hey, you know, it's March.
Yeah.
Said,
Yeah.
I just don't like that feeling. So I have funded my own stuff. Again, I don't like doing that either.
Right. That's why I asked. I don't either, but
I don't like it,
yeah.
but I realize it's a necessary evil
necessary.
at times.
Yeah.
Right. So when my process is usually my process is to take a little bit of money and invest it into a few episodes of, if I'm doing a sitcom, invest it into those episodes and get them done so that now I can take this burden of proof out and show somebody, hey, this is not just a pitch.
Right.
I already shot it.
Yeah.
This is the rhythm of it. This is the flow. So now, if you like it, I think it'll benefit your network.
Right.
You can now make some advertising dollars off of this, but this is how much it costs. And they go, well, we like to partner with you. Well, usually whatever they partner with you at, okay, I can get it done for that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And now you have a flow, you have a
Right.
rhythm, and you're working with a company that's pretty much funding it now. So they take you from, you might have shot 4 episodes, but they're going to take that 4 to 100. And you made your cheese and you own your content. You own that
I was just about to ask you, what's the importance of the ownership of your content and what you create?
Everything. Ownership is everything, because I think we're moving into a realm of where it's all about the catalog. It's about those catalogs. It's just like in the music industry, like you were saying. You know, I'm saying Michael Jackson sold 600 million yesterday.
Yeah, something crazy.
Something crazy. For part of just a piece of his catalog.
Yeah.
So it's catalog. It's catalog, and it's the same thing in TV and film. You want to own. You want to own it. I was talking to, you remember Ray Parker Jr. from?
Of course.
Okay.
Ghostbusters.
Yes, Ghostbusters. So I'm sitting with Ray about a month ago, and I'm talking to him about Ghostbusters. And I'm like, yo, man, you must be excited when Halloween comes. He goes, for what? I said, because the song is playing like heavy rotation. He goes, I don't trip off of that no more. I sold that. I said, you sold it? He goes, oh, yeah, I sold that catalog. He said, man, I won't disclose how much he sold it for. But he said, you wouldn't have sold it for that amount? I said, hell yeah, I would have sold it for that amount. He's like this. So basically the importance of that catalog, because it bubbles and becomes more, more of a expensive thing that you own now. And then you could either keep it for your legacy play, for your, for your kids or whatever, or you can sell it and enjoy the fruits of your labor.
That IP.
That IP. Let me ask you this, and my apologies if I'm overstepping.
Not at all.
So you've written and co-wrote a lot of hit shows and hit movies, right? But I can probably guess that you don't own those things. The studios own them, but a lot of them are in syndication. So I'm assuming you still get residuals. Are those residuals less than the independent stuff that you own? And do you get more off of your independent stuff that you own than residuals from huge shows and syndication?
Absolutely. I make more money off of my stuff than I do off of that stuff. Like, for instance,
That's
I'll
dope.
tell you like this. The Martin Show has been very good to me. Although I didn't create the Martin Show. I
But
did
you
become
wrote
the showrunner.
a lot of it.
I probably wrote the majority of it.
Yeah.
Right? So I get a nice, nice little stipend every quarter. Not enough to live off of, but definitely a nice, supplemental income.
You're talking about something 25 years old, still
30.
giving you something, 30,
Yeah.
still giving you bread. Yeah.
Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's still, that mailbox money is lovely. The Jamie Foxx Show is more disheartening. It's almost like, I almost can't watch the show if I see it on, because it hurts my feelings, because we spent all that time. I created this show and I believed what they were trying to sell me. And I've never even seen a syndication check yet.
Oh, wow.
Now I get my residuals from the Writers Guild and from the Directors Guild, but the piece of ownership, Jamie and I don't see any of that action, man.
Oh, wow.
It's horrible, because, and then when you check, they go, oh yeah, you're still in the red.
Oh, they trying to say that's music shit. That's the same shit they do in music.
Same
You
thing.
still haven't recouped.
Come on,
What
bro.
haven't you recouped in 30, 25 years?
25 years we ain't recouped,
That's
and it's
crazy.
been on every day.
That's crazy.
And now that I know the game, I'm going, yeah, cold, boy, yeah, that's
some
crazy.
cold
Come on, y'all,
people.
some
Yeah,
cold
yeah.
mother hummers, boy. So it's when you look at that and you go, damn, I thought that for sure when I was doing the Jamie Foxx Show, this was going to be my retirement.
That's right.
And then not making the money off of the Jamie Foxx Show after it was over and the money stopped, I started running out of money. I started becoming afraid. That's the period where I was unhappy. Remember, I started by saying I'm always happy. I was very unhappy because I couldn't understand what had happened to me. But again, I was able to be resilient and create my own ball game. I'll create my own league then. I'll do like Cuba's doing with the 3-on-3. I'll create my own league.
Yeah, that's a fact. Let me ask you, are you familiar with the fast channels and the OTT platforms?
Absolutely.
Have you considered doing one for yourself?
I have one.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh,
I have one.
Me and Ice-T are creating one now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I love Ice-T.
Yeah.
I met him a couple of times. Good dude.
Yeah.
Good dude.
What's been your experience with the fast channel on the OTT platform?
Oh, well, that's where it's headed.
Yeah, it is.
It's getting ready to take cable TV out.
That's a fact.
It's going to knock cable TV out the game.
That's a fact. What's the name of your fast channel, by the way?
NBT, National Black Television.
Okay.
Right? And so I just got I got distribution for it. It's actually up right now. You can go on a lot of the different platforms.
Are you on like
and find-
iOS, the Vizio, and
Not
you on
yet.
Roku? Okay.
Not yet. I'm on Roku.
Okay.
And you can get it on Apple TV, but we haven't got I believe in going to all the markets and going to, I go to NatP, I used to, and go to Discop in Africa. And, you know, and my partner actually went to one of the Fast Channel markets recently in Denver, and that's where he met the guys over and said, Ben, we got to meet with these guys. This is cool. He's pretty much the mover and the shaker when it comes to setting up the business deals.
Got you.
I'm the creative.
Got you. How many hours of content you guys got on there?
Right now, probably maybe 100.
Oh, wow.
Maybe 100 hours.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more than that. As a matter of fact, I'm actually doing a show on there called Brotherhood in America that I actually host, and we're gonna shoot 100 episodes, which it's an hour show.
Nice.
We'll shoot that between now and the first quarter.
So all of that is original content that's
All
on your
original.
channel. Oh, wow.
All original.
And you shot that all at Harvest Studios.
All at Harvest Studios.
That is
I
dope.
shot over 400 episodes of sitcoms at Harvest Studios.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, since 2013.
Wow. What's been your biggest challenge with your Fast channel, your OTT?
It hasn't really been a challenge with that yet because it's so new and learning how it works and really understanding what it really is, because most people don't even know. The term is a relatively new term.
It is.
Right?
Yeah.
But I understand exactly what it is and I understand how it works. So my experience has been so far a really good one. I also distribute some of my content through another company called FilmRise. Are you familiar with them? They're an industry leader.
Nice.
So I'm distributing some stuff with them, but now I'm focused on the Fast channel itself.
Yeah.
And we're actually, my Fast channel is actually on cable in the Caribbean.
Oh, okay.
So I'm distributed through the entire Caribbean on their cable system.
So it's kind of like a linear.
It's linear
channel
over there.
Oh,
absolutely.
Nice.
Here it's just Fast, but we're trying to. We're going to cover the whole market. We're gonna. I know cable's dying. It's on. It's on. You know. It's
cord
on this,
cutting. Yeah.
clear.
Everybody's cord cutting. Yeah.
But we're still going to do it there.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the industry's going. People laugh at Tubi. They really laugh at Tubi, and I'm going, y'all better. Rupert's about to get the last laugh.
That's a fact. That's
you know what
fact.
I mean?
Yeah.
Because you know, with Pluto and Tubi and stuff, they'll take anything now.
Yeah.
But isn't that the smart thing to do?
Absolutely.
It's content.
Absolutely.
People are gonna laugh until they stop laughing.
Man, let me tell you, like kind of the question I asked you earlier, the demand is shifted too, you know, because there's a whole market that like those low budget movies. They love that stuff. They're not going to watch Bad Boys. They're going to watch.
Shotas.
Yeah, they're going to watch Shotas.
I'll tell you about Shotas in a minute. I'll tell you about that in a minute.
Yeah, you know, that's what they're looking for, you know. So I think it's dope because I know some guys that have eaten off Tubi. They making movies for 5,000-10,000 and they seeing, you know, 40, 50, 60,000, you know, a quarter or every month, depending on how they get it, off of the advertising, the ads. So
it's a fact.
It's wide open.
And so that's what evens the playing field as well, because anybody really can create a Fast channel. You know, if they go through the right sources, they can create it. Now to get your distribution for it, that's a whole different thing.
And to sustain it.
You ain't just getting on.
That's a fact.
Just because you got one.
Just because you got one.
Don't mean somebody's gonna carry it. Doesn't mean Tubi's picking it up.
That's right.
It doesn't mean that.
Absolutely.
So the understanding that part of the game has been the learning curve for me.
Yeah.
And now I'm finally getting to the point to where it's like, okay, now we're getting distribution with Vizio. Now we got distribution with TCL. We got distribution with a lot of these different TV platforms and TVs themselves.
Yeah.
Now we're in the mix.
That's funny. I just had a 85-inch TCL delivered yesterday.
Did you really?
I did.
Yeah.
You on there? Is your thing?
It will be.
Okay.
I think we
Nice.
pop on there in March.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just had one delivered
Yeah,
yesterday.
yeah. So we'll be on
Yeah.
there and a lot of other places. So
Are you running ads on it?
yeah, we're running all the direct response ads right now. So I've actually got the direct response ads, which are the 1-800 numbers and stuff like that. So it's
Nice.
we're already monetizing, and the difference between my channel and just your typical fast channel was not only did we do that, the fast channel, we're also linear here, but through broadcast. You understand what I mean when I say that? So the same way that Bounce TV started,
Right.
where they were just on antennas,
Yep.
and you can turn on the TV right now and turn my station on right now,
Oh, wow.
right now,
Wow.
in 85% of the country.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
On
Thank
that.
you.
That's some
It's a
accomplishment.
larger story, and I don't want to kill the time talking about that, but I'd talk to you off off the
Yeah,
record
for sure.
about it, because it's really, really turning into something that I didn't expect, and
Yeah.
I'm seeing the blossom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The same thing with me. I brought in my guy Steele from Gangster Chronicles. He put me on to the Fast Channel OTT world a few years ago. And I've kind of been studying it and kind of bumping my head here and there. But here, me and Ice-T, we linked up. And especially when I saw 50, because 50 Cent's doing his.
Smart.
And he linked with Lionsgate. And so I was talking with Ice, and he was like, Court, I think we on to something. We got to get in before everybody start trying to do it. But I said, Ice, everybody's not going to be able to do it. They can try it. Anybody can do it. But this ain't that. Like, you got to be able to sustain this thing.
Yeah.
Like, and then what I love about it too is not only can you own the content, but then you also serve as a distributor too.
Yes.
And I believe that, at least for me, and maybe you agree, I think any good business is finding a solution to a problem. And I think when you have so many content creators that are kind of displaced because of Tubi kind of closing the doors a little bit and not being as welcoming as they were a few years ago. So now where are they going to go?
I know where they're going.
I know where they're going too. I know where they're going too. They coming to us.
There you
They
go.
coming to us.
And there's enough room. There's
There's
enough
enough
room
room
for all of us.
That is absolutely
It
correct.
really is.
It
you know,
is.
it doesn't have to. You don't have to be a miser.
No,
It's like, hey,
no.
man. I mean, the thing to do is work with like-minded individuals.
That's right.
And like, if I'm talking to you about, you might hit me to something, and I
Yep.
might hit you to something.
That's a fact.
And we can help each other out. And I say, hey, man, what
Absolutely.
you doing with that? You want?
Yeah.
Let me throw you this.
Exactly. Man.
Come on, man.
That's,
But that's the way it should be.
I agree.
It's just that it hasn't been that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the reason why I have to embrace Tyler Perry. That's the reason why I have to embrace what 50's doing.
Yep.
Because I respect it.
Yep. And we know how hard it is.
It's hard, man.
These things are very, very difficult to
Yeah.
navigate these systems. So which will lead me to my next thing. So you're very passionate and accomplished with this business. So is that what propelled you to start dropping jewels on your IG? I know you have the book.
The book's gonna come out. I'm gonna do an audio version of it.
Nice.
And everything. So I guess just to make it plain, that wasn't really my idea to start dropping the little teasers and
Yeah.
dropping stuff on Patreon, because I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
YouTube and stuff like that. It wasn't really my idea.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people doing it, but
Yeah.
and I watch YouTube. That's what I watch most of the time is
Yeah,
YouTube.
that's right.
Right. But my assistant, came to me and she was like, "Yo, this is what we're gonna do." You know what I'm saying?
That's how she came at me.
That's how you
Yeah.
need that. You
That's how
gotta
she
have
came at me.
somebody that's thinking different from you.
Yeah.
And she says, "This is what we're gonna do." She introduced me to Patreon, which I'm still trying to understand. I still don't get it.
I
But
have assistants. I can assist.
okay, exactly. But I do understand YouTube. That
Yes.
makes sense to me because that's what I
Yes.
watch.
Right.
And so we just started shooting these pieces and then cutting them down into little teasers and dropping them through my social media. And I'm trying to grow my social media.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to do that, but I'm learning. And I'm trying to grow that because I realize that there's a brand here,
Yeah,
and I have to
absolutely.
make that brand. I have to get it out to the masses. I
Right.
have to make sure that they know of of my, that my awareness is there, give, and give me that attention that I'm looking for. And so then to be able to sell whatever it is that I'm trying to sell, I'm just trying to create a community so that at the end of the day, if everybody says we ain't doing business with you no more, I still got a community that I can work
and
with.
it's independent of any algorithm.
Look. She put me onto that. So what you saw me talk about, my legacy builder community, same thing, right? Because I have an ecosystem of almost 500,000 followers across my social medias. And my daughter comes to me like, hey, listen, you need to create something that's independent of these platforms, where you're not dependent upon an algorithm and all of this. The real people that rock with you and lock in with you and want to know what you're doing, what you have to say, they want to learn from you and all of that. So,
because you have a lifetime of expertise, experience.
That's right, which is very valuable.
And people.
And peer-to-peer learning is the thing now. Like, people don't want to go to school and spend all of that money and different things like that. They rather sit down with you or someone like me and give me your experience.
Yeah, man. It's like I would say just this year, only this year, I really paid attention to YouTube to the point to where I don't even watch TV anymore.
Right.
I only watch YouTube because that's all I'm interested in. I'm only interested in what I'm interested in.
Yeah, that's right.
If I'm trying to learn something new, I know it's there.
Yeah.
I've been for the last year focusing my attention on learning another language. So I'm constantly on YouTube.
Polyglot.
I'm trying to be a polyglot. I really have interest in becoming a polyglot. But I know it starts with one first, and then but it all stems from YouTube. And YouTube, I'm looking at all these industry professionals and I'm going, wow, they've been talking like this for years. I go back and look, you posted this 5 years ago.
Right.
Dang, but I didn't know.
Same with me. I was late to it.
I'm late.
And ain't it crazy how all of the things that you accomplished in real life, like all the hurdles you've had to, jump over, but we're in a day and age to where we still have to get our social currency up on social media.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, you do know I've done shit for real.
Yeah.
But then it's like, but how many people know that?
He's
like,
still
who's tapping
posting
in
stuff.
with you?
He got to pull out archives, pictures from the 90s. Like, no, I've been doing this.
Yeah, you do. It's like you got to remind people. And then you have to understand, too, we're moving. It's different generations we're talking to now because this is them. They were born into this. We just, adjusted to it.
Here's what I'll say though, Court, check this out. I look at it like this. I look at the younger generation that's coming up now. They literally pay homage to me. They give me so much respect. They respect me much more than my peers did. And because they know the story. They know they hold you up. They big up you. Where the people that I was rolling with, they ain't give you that. You just not that nigga,
Yeah.
But I'm noticing that the respect level is out there. When these young people meet me, they look at me with a sparkle in their eyes.
Yeah.
And I'm going, oh, I just made a couple of shows. And they're like this, yo, but you the GOAT, you and you going, well, damn, do I accept that?
Yeah.
The humility in me goes, I don't know how to accept that, but I guess maybe I did do something special.
No, you definitely did. I mean, I've been watching you, so you were one of the ones that I watched and studied. So yes. Yeah. And it's funny because you're doing it. You don't see yourself like that. You're just doing it. You're just doing what you want to be doing. I don't want to forget this though, as we start to close. You had a very, very memorable moment on The Martin Show. Who came up with the character? So for those that are listening, if you remember on The Martin Show, he was at the DMV.
I know you're going to show this
He was
clip.
at the
You're going to
DMV.
put this clip in this. I already know you're going to do it.
Yeah, you already know, right? Martin's at the DMV. He's struggling, right?
Yeah.
And so you come over there, and what you call him? What's up with your almond?
Almondy. But check this out. Wait. It's so crazy how that whole thing came about, right? So I was a writer producer on the show.
Yeah.
And when you're around somebody all those years and you're playing with them and you start to see their good side, their bad side, and they're mad, they're happy, whatever it is. And one day Martin is not in the best of moods, right? And so, I roll over to Martin and I said, either I'm gonna make him laugh or I'm gonna make him mad. It's one of the two. So he had this attitude, and he's ready to leave and everything, and the script wasn't going good. And so I walked up to him and I said, "What's wrong?" And he turned around and said, "What?" I said, "What's wrong with you? Why you acting tough? Why you acting like that?" He said, "Hey, Ben, not right now, man. Come on, man, with the bullshit. Stop, man." And I said, "Okay, you just tough with your little almond self." Right? And he just looked at me, and I just walked off. So we go up in the writer's room, 2 hours has passed, and I get a phone call up in the writer's room, and they say, "Martin wants you to come to the stage." I know I'm getting fired at this point.
Yeah.
I'm like, I done pissed him off, and I took the joke too far, right? So I go down on stage, and he just rolls right up on me and goes, "Hey, you know what's missing from this scene? I need you to do that character you was just doing." I said, "What character you talking about?" He said, "When you was doing the little gay dude, you gotta do that." And I was like, "Oh, no, I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that on TV." He goes, "You got to, Bent. That's funny." And I said, "Nah, man." He goes, "Dude, I put on a dress and play Shanae.
Right.
What are you tripping off of?"
Right.
So I said, "All right, I'll do it." But it wasn't the DMV episode first. It was another episode that I had done where him and Gina were sustaining from sex, and I was at the boss's party, and I was hitting on Martin.
I do remember that one too.
Okay, that came first.
Okay, right.
Right. So he throws me in the scene, and he said, I said, "Well, we didn't write that. We just gonna freestyle it."
Yeah.
So we freestyled it. Everybody's laughing.
He was trying not to laugh in the scene.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when we do the DMV one, now I know the character. 'Cause now I know I'm gonna try to break him.
Yeah.
Because what people used to do, Martin was so good that when people came on the show, they wanted to break him. Tommy Davidson was coming on to destroy
Vernell,
Martin.
with the Vernell character.
And Martin was like, "Just bring it.
Yeah.
Bring it." David Allen Greer, when they came, Martin was like this, I got me some victims now. I'm going in. And so the whole thing was, you got to try to make Martin laugh. I mean, Tracy Morgan, these people were trying to make Martin laugh. And so I said, I'm going to make him laugh today. And when we did that DMV, the stuff that they cut out,
classic,
we'll never see.
It was classic.
But I was messing with him. It was so funny. I was just thinking, what's the most offensive thing that a gay guy could say to a straight guy to really just piss him off? So it was like this: "Oh, you ain't so tough." You know what I'm saying? You don't know till you tried it. And and so I was trying to make him laugh, and that's how that came about. But it was a lot of fun. We got a lot of flack because the head of standards and practices didn't like the character, gay male. So he was offended by it, and we didn't want to offend him. So I was like, "Hey, man, how's that offensive?" And so he was like, "Well, all gay people don't act like that." And I was like, "Yeah, but some do."
Right.
I mean, I'm just playing a character based upon what I've seen.
Exactly.
And I don't think we got to be able to make fun of ourselves.
Exactly.
Okay? I've been making fun of myself my whole life. And I don't think anything is, unless you're just trying to be offensive to somebody, that's one thing. I'm not a malicious person. I'm like, let's just enjoy it. And so when I made him laugh, when I made Kevin laugh, the guys with the standards and practice, then I said, now we found it.
Yeah.
We found the character.
Was that Tommy laughing in the background?
Yes, it was.
Because he was ha.
Yes, it was. Tommy was dying laughing. And he had that distinctive laugh. But it was. And it was a lot of fun. I think I ended up playing the character on like 4 or 5 different episodes of the show. Because Martin would go, "Hey, yo, man, so you gonna do that character next week?" I'm like, "Come on, man, my mama don't like that character, man." but it was a lot of fun. It was done in jest, and I'm just so happy that show is still playing in syndication, and people still recognize me from the show, which I say, well, damn, I haven't aged since then. That's 30 years. I know I look different from that, but they still recognize me. The TSA at the airport, but every time I'm going through there, they be like this, "Come on, Almond D."
But you were just a little piece of tough leather.
Yeah.
It was classic.
You know where I stole that line from? I stole that from Little Richard. Little Richard did this. He came and did an episode of Martin.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah,
so he said, he came on set and he said, "Hi, Tolly." And I was like, hey, Richard, how you doing, man? He was like this. now where is that Martin? Because he's a tough little piece of leather, but he's so well put together. I was like, I gotta steal that. I gotta have that. I gotta have that. So yeah,
that was dope. That was an awesome show.
Yeah, man. Thank you, bro. We had a lot of fun there.
Yeah. So, hey, listen, man, I ain't gonna keep you no longer, man. This has been fun.
Awesome.
Man, listen, I appreciate you taking your time out, man. Again, as I said at the beginning of the show, man, I've always, admired you from a distance and love your work, studied you, and learned from you as well. So I'm honored that you actually came to the show to sit down and tell your story, brother. And hopefully we can build from here.
Sure.
And this is always home. Anything that you want to talk about or promote or come on and whatever, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, man. Thank you for reaching out, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you for reaching out, and very nice to meet you as well. We got to talk that tech talk.
Oh, definitely. You got to get with my baby. Yeah,
absolutely.
So, man, on that note, listen, Holdin Court Podcast, Rachel Renee, Bentley Kyle Evans. Y'all go ahead. Y'all make sure y'all follow this man. You get his book when it comes out. What's the name of the book again?
It's called The Hollywood Blueprint. And then I'm coming out with one called Writing Martin. Oh, you're going to love that one.
Okay. Yeah, you got to come back for that one. You got to come back.
For sure.
And they can catch you on Patreon.
They catch me on Patreon, YouTube.
What's your YouTube?
At
Patreon?
Bentley Evans on everything,
Okay.
on Instagram, all of them. It's at Bentley Evans, not Bentley Kyle Evans, just at Bentley Evans. And I got some interesting stuff that I want to talk about.
There it is. Hey, Holdin Court Podcast, we out of here. Salute.
Yes.